So hi. This is kind of hard for me to do because again, I want my place to be safe space for people to come in, especially queer people who aren't welcome in a lot of other sectors of society. But I think it's important to come out against this because there's a lot of young men, and I grew up as a vulnerable young man. It turns out I was just a woman, and that's why couldn't really find my space. But that's not the case for all other young men, and that sucks. And there's so much misinformation being spread around about this, like sigma male, gamma delta bull. Like I don't know what the fuck's going on. Like the sigma male bullshit's happening, and I don't know. Like I was doing some research here because I want to talk about this, and like listen to this.
Fall into one of the other four socio-dominant personality types. Alpha males sit at the top of the male dominance hierarchy, followed by hardworking betas, modest deltas, highly sensitive gammas, and finally at the bottom of the hierarchy, the skillful.
First of all, they mentioned 5 types here, and they only show 4 people. That's okay, but it's fine. It's fine.
But unpopular omega personality. Omega
They call omegas unpopular.
males can be
Idiot.
unpredictable and unusual. We often compare omega males to social outcasts and rejects, people who are unsuccessful in social situations and unpopular in romantic settings. Omega males
What a fucking clown thing to say. Unpopular in romantic and sexual settings. That's that's the dumbest shit I've heard. There are so many books written about romance and love that happens with omegas, and we definitely see that a lot. Like, that is just a factual thing. Omegas are very popular romantic partners. Like, again, the study of this comes from this Omegaverse studies that are happening. So many books are being written about this, and it's ABO, like alpha, beta, omega. It kind of fixes up where alpha are like the physically dominant, and betas are just normal people, right? So we got people like Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg who take control and lead the world, and then we have omegas, which are the submissive and more, I wouldn't say feminine necessarily, men, but people who. The fucking wild thing about omegas is that they are biologically different, right? Like they are men with a uterus, right? Like that is a thing that's important. They often have self-lubricating anuses. We cannot hover over any of these things because then the video. I have had recordings tied to this. We cannot hover over any of the blue text, but this is important to get into, right? Like. They are physically different males. That's also why I've concluded I'm not a trans woman. I'm just an alpha female, right? And I take control of the work and the world, and I have a dick, right? And that is my role. And there are like famous omegas, and again, all of this comes from the like alpha beta male stuff from the dominance hierarchy. You see a monkey here, right? Like all of this is incredibly well studied, and there's a lot of books about it. And I think it's sad that this isn't discussed enough. Like, why isn't this taught in school? It's all just abstinence and bullshit there. I had to become an adult before I learned about nutting. Like, what the fuck's wrong with that? And like, I did not know that self-lubricating anuses was a thing, which is sad because I think that is like an important part. And just knowing that there are men out here who can create life is incredible, and I don't think our society is present enough of that. Like, there are so many things that are like women's issues that men don't care about enough, but like access to period products, that's also important for omega males. Like sexual care, the ability to get an abortion if you need it, that is also important for omega males, and we need to take care of omegas. As well as women, of course, but the omegas are way more important here. And I think it would be nice for young men to know that this is an option, right? And like a famous example of this is the self-named Kenny Omega, who is a professional wrestler. And I think he's such a beautiful example of what an Omega male is, because he is, in professional wrestling, he's like peak masculine form, but he is still a very emotional human being. There was a large fight with CM Punk where he saved a dog, showing that he's a very caring person. He also recently was out before that for like 9 to 10 months, which it was actually 9 months and 2 weeks exactly. And that has kind of led me to believe that, yeah, like, homie had a child, and then why did 2 weeks? It only takes 9 months to make a child. But he's Canadian, right? And Canada, they have 2 weeks paternity leave, which is so fucked up because maternity leave is way longer, right? But that doesn't take care of the Omegas. And again, that is just another venue for social injustice. So he made a child and still has these abs. What the fuck? Right? And it's sad that children don't get to look up to this. And it's why I think it's really sad that there are all these videos about Sigmas and Alphas and the virtues of being a big, strong man who doesn't... There's so much misinformation being spread around, and I think all of it has the same validity as this Omegaverse stuff, if not less, right? Because at least this has research behind it, right? There are so many books written about this that I think are worth reading. So yeah, I think respect the Omega male and treat them with the respect that they need, because they aren't respected in society enough, and that's a fucking tragedy.